One day, my daughter will be old enough to understand why I wake up before sunrise to train, and these are the lessons I hope she takes from it. Welcome back to the Hybrid Athlete Dad podcast. Super excited to have you be tuning into today's show where I'm going to be discussing the fitness lessons that I want my daughter to remember. I should actually be changing the title to the fitness lessons I want my daughters to remember. If you haven't been tuning in, I'm having another daughter in March of 2026, so about 5.5 months away at this point. But super excited to have you be tuning into today's episode. Super excited to dive into it. Now, before we get into today's show, I like to go over anything personal when it comes to fitness, when it comes to nutrition, and honestly, really anything that I think that you may find funny. Maybe you do, maybe you don't, maybe beneficial. But honestly, within the past week of training since recording last episode, really nothing nothing too monumental has changed. It's just been very consistent. It's getting up, it's going to the gym, it's coming back, it's eating breakfast, it's dropping my daughter off, it's coming home, it's getting my miles run, and just being very, very consistent every single day doing that same routine. So there hasn't been anything interesting going on the runs. I've been changing up my routes a little bit, but I have been enjoying just the consistency. I did have to change it up a little bit this week on Wednesday this week. Typically I run 6 miles on Wednesday. I was looking at the weather and it looked like it was going to be about 50 in rain. And I don't mind running in rain and when it's a little bit chillier, but I'm visiting my brother and my sister-in-law. They have a newborn baby. I know sometimes when I run out in the cold, I get a cold myself, which for me is whatever. It's just part of running outside in the cold. But I obviously didn't want to get them sick, especially having a newborn. I want to make sure that I'm in tip-top shape for when I go and visit them a few days after over the weekend. So with that said, I ended up running 2 extra miles on Tuesday, ran 2 miles at the gym on Thursday, and then ran 2 miles outside in the rain on Wednesday. But that way I didn't have to go a full 6 miles out in the rain. Again, I just want to make sure I'm in good shape going forward, but that'll be good. I'll run 7 miles tomorrow on Thursday, run 5 miles on Friday, and call it a week. Hit the 30 miles for the week, so I'll be super happy with that. And next week, the following week, it'll be a little off schedule, but I'll figure it out. I have Columbus Day coming up on Monday, and then I'm going to be away, going down to South Carolina on Friday to watch the South Carolina Oklahoma football game. So I'm going to be a little bit off, but maybe I'll pick up some miles on Friday. Maybe I'll pick up some extra ones throughout the week. But whatever it may be, I'll make sure I get my 30 miles in next week, barring any, say, injury or sickness that may come. But it just feels good just to be very consistent to get back into the routine. Having it be fall is very nice, especially in New York. The weather's getting a little bit colder. Yesterday on my Tuesday run, it wasn't like it was super warm. It was 70 degrees, but it was like a good 90% humidity, and it had been a little bit chillier. I've been going on my runs when it's been in the 40s, so it was just it was a grind to get through the run. Yesterday, I just didn't feel like I had it, but some days you do have it, some days you don't have it. It's interesting. Like sometimes I'll go out and run, and I have no problem. Like for me, like a decent run or a good run is like 8:15, 8:30. So that's average. That's where I'm shooting for, about 8:30. Some runs I'll go out and I'll hit 8 minutes, no problem. Like wow, like that's super easy. The last couple of miles I'll be running like a 7:45 pace, no problem. And then I get the run yesterday where the heart rate's elevated, where the heart rate's like pretty high up. Where typically like my 7:45 pace, that's where I'm at an 8:45 pace. The legs just weren't feeling it, but I know not every run is going to be enjoyable. Some runs I don't feel like doing, but I just do it anyways. I just make sure that I get it done. So that was good yesterday to get that run done. Again, just a few more runs this week to get those 30 miles in on top of the 5 workouts. So overall has been a good week of training, leaning a little bit more into hypertrophy training, which is typically just doing a little bit more reps per set. So instead of say doing 4 to 6, I might do 8 to 12. And something I've done recently, changed up my workouts a little bit, is I've cut down from 4 sets to 3 sets on a lot of my lifts. And I find just mentally it allows me to push myself a little bit more, is being able to cut down from my 3 sets, or cut down from my 4 sets down to my 3 sets. So I've been enjoying it. I found that I was becoming very fatigued by the end of the week with this running and this lifting, especially on Thursdays. I wouldn't be doing too hot, and especially on Thursdays, where that's my night that I volunteer for our local EMS, our local ambulance service. So that's not how I want to feel. I want to make sure that I was still fresh for that. I anticipate being a little bit sore, a little bit tired just from the week of working out. But so just switch up my workouts a little bit, and I've been enjoying that the past week or two. Just making sure I get good quality sleep, making sure I stay hydrated throughout the week, and just trying to check off all those boxes to make sure that I'm in the best state possible. Well, that's a little bit about what's going on and a little bit about my training. Now, I really want to dive into today's episode, which again is the fitness lessons I want my daughter to remember. I wanted to understand the power of discipline over motivation. There's days that I know I talked about it before, but there's days that I don't always want to train, but I'm going to do it anyway. I didn't feel like going for my 7-mile run. I know tomorrow I'm going to do deadlifts at the gym. When I do deadlifts, the last thing I want to do is go out and do a 7-mile run, but I'll make sure that I do get that 7-mile run in. I wanted to know that consistency matters more than how I feel in the moment. Again, on some of these runs, I'm going out there and I'm feeling good. Sometimes I'm at the gym and it's like the last place that I want to be, but I'm consistently showing up. I'm consistently putting in the work. And with consistently showing up, that's how strength and character are built, where there's going to be days in her life where there's going to be tough situations that she encounters, whether that's in athletics, whether that's in work, whatever that may be. But you just have to continue to show up. And again, that leads to having more discipline than motivation. I wanted to know that growth comes through discomfort. The hardest workouts that I have teach me the most physically and mentally. I know that I can push myself. I know that I can push myself further. Where in the moment, I may feel terrible. I may feel as though this is like the last thing that I want to do. But I go through it. I push myself. The workout ends. I look back. I'm like, wow, I can't believe I did that. Now I have a set point for what I know I can do. And now I'm going to try to break that set point the next time I'm in the gym. I want to understand that pain and struggle aren't necessarily things to avoid, but they're signals of growth. Yesterday, it was like a struggle. There was a struggle on the run. I didn't feel like doing it, but I made sure I got it done. And this isn't like a pain like, hey, I blew out my Achilles, let me go for a run. I'm not talking that. I mean, you should know, you should understand what I'm talking about here when it comes to pain and running through this discomfort and lifting through this discomfort. And it's not lifting through injury. It's not being dumb and stupid like that and making yourself more hurt. I wanted to not shy away from challenges, but lean into them. The big challenge that I had in the last year, running a marathon, that was something that I never envisioned doing, but I took on the challenge. Grateful I did it. At this point in time, I'm gonna hold off on any marathons in the future. Maybe I'll pick them back up. I enjoy running about 5 miles a day. For me, like I didn't enjoy doing a 20-mile run on the weekend. I did it because I wanted to prove to myself that I could run a marathon, which I did. But that isn't something that like interests me in wanting to do all the time. I prefer strength training over running, but running's just built into my routine, built into my habit at this point. I want her to know that taking care of your body is a form of self-respect. Fitness isn't just about looks, it's about longevity and health. And I can tell you, looking at my dad, who's 69, who's going to be 70, he's in great shape for his age, looks about 10 to 15 years younger than he actually is. And this isn't to brag, but I can see how he's taking care of his body, how what he eats, how often he goes to the gym, how often he works out. And I can see some of these folks that unfortunately I run into in our community with a local volunteer ambulance service, and you meet folks and that are in their early 60s that are severely overweight. They can't walk. You meet someone that's in their late 60s that just they're just not there. You're just like, lack for a better word. You're almost like what's the point of living? Like you have no enjoyment. And then I get someone like my father who I can see who's also older but takes very good care of himself, and you would never know it. I want her to know that by prioritizing my health, it's showing her the importance of self-care, and that a strong body supports a strong mind and heart. So what is taking care of my body? So getting in enough water, getting in enough sleep, eating fruits and vegetables, eating good quality meals throughout the day, and just making sure that I'm taking care of my body. And she can see, based on what I'm eating, based on what I'm putting into my body, based on what I'm drinking. Like for me, I'm typically drinking, might sound funny, but I have a glass of milk with dinner, and I'm typically drinking water. And if I'm having anything in my water, it's typically electrolytes and creatine, or I'm just having electrolytes in my water. She will never see me drinking alcohol, and I think that's just a big factor. One, I don't like what it does to my body. Two, I didn't like the taste of it. So if I don't like how it makes my body feel, and I don't like the taste of it, why would I drink it? It just puts me at a disadvantage if I want to be in my optimal self. So again, it's taking care of my body and showing her that that is a form of self-respect. I want my daughter to understand about making time for what matters. That early mornings and long days are going to happen, but priorities are going to show in your actions. If it was up to me, honestly, I would enjoy sleeping in every day, enjoy getting up when I wanted to, going to work out when I want to. But what works best for me is making time for what matters. So I get up early in the morning, I make sure I get my workouts done, so that way nothing can come up in my day, because it is the first thing that I do in my day to make sure that I get my workout done, to make sure that I get my run in. I want her to understand that fitness isn't something that takes away from family. It's not something that I'm spending time on that I want to be away from my family, but it actually enhances it because I'm being that role model for my daughter. She can see the races I run. She can see me if I'm just coming in from a run. She can see me when I'm coming home from the gym. Maybe she doesn't know exactly what I'm doing, but she can see me drinking my protein shakes. She can see what I'm eating, what I'm putting in to my body. And again, it's just setting that example for her that I can be present for my family and I can still chase my goals. We all have the same 24 hours in the day. And sometimes it feels like the 24 hours that we have in a given day isn't enough. But I know that I can still chase my goals. I can still accomplish what I want to, and I can still be there for my family. It just comes to how I prioritize my schedule and really what matters the most to me. I want my daughter to understand that all about setting goals for yourself, but staying patient. That progress doesn't happen in an instant. It's over time. You can think back when I first went to the gym for the very first time and started lifting, and I was doing 25-pound flat dumbbell press and thinking like this was the heaviest weight, or going to the gym and finally being able to bench 135 for the first time. And it just took this steady progression to get to these marks. We're now looking back so many years later, it's almost laughable, but we all have to start somewhere and we have to make that progress over time. I wanted to understand that the journey matters more than just the outcome. Sometimes I give it my all at the gym, I feel great, but I can't get to where I was the week prior. But I know maybe when I hit the gym up the following week, I can progress further. So say I can squat 300 pounds for 5 reps. Now I'm back in the gym. Following week, I'm like, okay, I want to do a progressive overload. I either want to get to 6 reps or I want to do, say, 315 for 5. So I'm going to start off with 300, go for 6. I do 300, I ended up hitting up 4. Well, that's weird. The previous week I hit 5. But knowing that sometimes that just happens, not that I enjoy it, not that I want that to happen when I'm working out. I'm going to show up again next week. I'm going to get back to that 305 for 5. Maybe I even do hit that 6. And just knowing that the journey is really what matters more than the outcome. I want her to stay focused and not expect the immediate results. And I think working out and going to the gym and running and eating healthy, the results take time. If you're someone that wants to, say, lose a little bit of weight, I could go off and I can eat a salad for the next week. I might see a little bit of results, but if I have the expectation that I'm going to go to the gym 5 days a week, I'm going to run 5 days a week, I'm going to eat healthy all the time, out of nowhere, I might burn out. So I need to understand that these results to time. That's like when I first started running, and I was running a mile and a half, so 1.5 miles between the neighborhood that's right near me, doing a loop through it, and running that mile and a half. If I tried to go and run 5, 10, 15, 20 miles when I hadn't ran in years, I don't think that I don't know if I would have continued on going running, but I'd rather start off small, running about a mile and a half, and then gradually increase it. We're now, again, ran a marathon last year, doing about 5 miles a day. Right now, throughout the week, give or take, sometimes I might do 7, 8, 9, 10 miles, maybe throw in a half marathon every now and then. But just knowing it took me time to get there. It wasn't something that happened overnight. I want her to understand that strength isn't just physical. Being a strong dad means being calm, dependable, and just kind with my daughter. If you have a son or a daughter, you know sometimes it can get frustrating, but my daughter's also two. She, to a certain degree, cannot be in control of her emotions. I'm the adult in the room. I have to be the one in control of my emotions when she does something that upsets me, when she does something where she's not listening. That understand, like, I'm the dad and I'm not going to yell at my daughter. I'm going to be the most present dad that I can be. For me, like, a non-negotiable is every week she has gymnastics, and I don't care what's going on in my business, what's going on in work. I'm going to be locked in for the hour and a half. A round trip, say that I'm at gymnastics, when I'm picking her up, when I'm going to gymnastics, and when I'm bringing her home. I don't care what goes on. There could be the worst thing ever in my business, in my job, but like I'm not gonna get that time back. Like my daughter is she's 2, she's coming up on 2 and 4 months now. Before you know it, she'll be 2.5 and hitting 3, and I only have a finite amount of time that I can spend with her when she's this age. Obviously, she's gonna be with us for a very, 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 very long time, but she's only a toddler and a young kid, very small, and looks at me like I'm her whole world for a limited amount of time. So like there's one more work task or getting one more thing done at work. Is that actually going to matter at the end of the day when she's all grown up and she's moved out of the house? Like, am I going to think back to, oh, I got one more work task done, or was I present with my daughter and she could be dependent on me to show up? And that's something that I always want to make sure I do. My daughter is that I'm always there. I don't care what's going on. I'm going to be there for her, and that's something that I've learned. I feel as though when it comes to fitness, like I'm gonna be there at the gym. I'm gonna be there running. Unless there's like black ice in the winter, I'm gonna be going out there. I'm gonna be running. I don't care what temperature it is. I ran at negative 10 degrees. Probably not the smartest, but went out there and did it. So I'm gonna be dependable. I'm gonna stick to my schedule. Maybe to a fault sometimes, but that's just the type of person that I am. And again, it just goes back to teaching her that strength isn't just physical. That fitness teaches this resilience, and it's the same quality needed in life and in parenting, that sometimes things don't go our way. And I'm going out there running. I Earlier in the show I was talking about the 7 mile run that I did that absolutely just killed me. Week prior, I could go out and do it in 8 minutes and have no problem at all. And it's the same route, but just knowing that just because it's hard today doesn't mean it's going to be hard tomorrow. And I look at that like in my life when I got suddenly laid off at my previous job, and you've been at this job for 4 years. You wake up one day on a Friday, everything looks fine. Next thing you know, you have an email come in with, can't even remember honestly. It's been a few months now. Say the VP coming in, or it was like someone in the C-suite coming in. Next thing you know, your whole life changed upside down. I know, like right now, it may feel like this is the worst thing ever if I finished a race, if I don't run a good time. But knowing that this is just the season of life that I'm in right now, and that it's gonna get better along the line. Like what I'm experiencing right now, like yes, I can feel it. Yes, it sucks. It's not enjoyable, but I know at the end of the day, I'm gonna become a better person because of it, and I'm gonna see my way out of it. I want her to stay true to her true strengths and abilities, and just to keep showing up for what you believe in and the people you love. And I know I harped on it enough, but making sure that I'm always showing up for her, making sure that I'm always showing up for myself and taking care of myself when it comes to fitness, when it comes to running, when it comes to cardio. And these are just the lessons that I want to instill in her, and I want to teach her these lessons. But I know like I can only tell her so much. I want her to see me actually doing these things and learning these lessons that I'm putting together for her. And lastly, the last lesson that I want to teach my daughter is to lead by example. I want her to remember more about what I did than just what I said. I want to set that example for her. If she grows up and as she gets older and older and older, she's going to see the effort and discipline and balance that I put into everything when it came to fitness, when it came to running, and what I put into my life. And my goal is that she lives by them too, that she takes an interest in fitness, whether that's working out at the gym, whether that's running, whether that's nutrition, whatever that may be. I just want her to see, based on what I'm doing to myself and by me setting that example, that she'll also live by those actions as well. Now, I really hope you enjoyed today's episode on the fitness lessons I want my daughter to remember. And I hope you tune to next week's episode where I discuss why I keep pushing my limits as a dad.